Our president, secretary of state, and the liberal universities in this country are filled with hatred, bigotry, and hypocrisy at a tremendous level. Just yesterday, the Palestinian Authority, the bastion of peaceful willingness to settle with Israel, a hero to our president, honored a Palestinian woman who back in the late 70s killed dozens and dozens of Israelis, wounded over 100, taxed school buses, kidnaps the children. This is a hero to the Palestinians, and this is who they honored yesterday. President or Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel was reelected. Did the president congratulate him? No, of course not. Did he say anything about what the Palestinians did? No, but they're the true partners for peace. Last summer, precipitating the war with Hamas, 3 Israeli students were kidnapped by Hamas and killed. The reaction on the Palestinian side, Abbas praised it, called for more. The official Palestinian website and Facebook page called for more kidnappings of Israeli students and killing them. Their religious leaders called for the same thing. The mother of one of those who was found to have kidnapped the children and was killed by the Israelis after they found him, praised what her son did and called for more killings of Jews and abducting of Jews and praised the actions of her son. Those are the true partners for peace, according to our president and the liberal universities in this country. Now, an Israeli student, Israeli group of Israelis rather, kidnapped a young Palestinian student, and they burned him to death. A horrific and disgraceful act. What was the reaction on the Israeli side? Well, the mother of one of those who was found to be one of the perpetrators and arrested, excuse me, said that she was mortified and embarrassed by the despicable act of her child. The religious leaders in Israel said the same thing. It was despicable, it was horrific, and it was not what Israel is about. Prime Minister Netanyahu condemned the action and had the balls that this president and many other leaders, especially on liberal college campuses, don't have the balls to do. He condemned the act and said that the Jews that did this to that Palestinian young man were terrorists. He called his own people who did this terrorists. You don't see the Palestinian leaders ever calling their people terrorists who willingly go and have a public policy of killing Israeli children. They've publicly stated that killing infants, toddlers, young children is perfectly legal because at some point they'll grow up to be Israeli soldiers and they might as well do the killing of them now than have to fight them later. But again, our president and our liberal universities support this policy. They certainly never condemn it, but they condemn Netanyahu when he looks the other way or looks askance at a negotiation. Iran and the nuclear negotiations, they've been in the news lately. Our president condemned Netanyahu. Several of the Democratic senators walked out, wouldn't listen to him when he spoke. Secretary Kerry, condemned the action of Netanyahu speaking against the negotiations, which basically was just stating, be careful, these people cannot be trusted, and it must be a solid agreement, not just an agreement to get an agreement. Netanyahu took a lot of flack from the liberals again. However, the Iranians, who for years now have been talking about how they would destroy Israel with nuclear bombs, how they would do everything they could to eliminate the Jews, last year had put out a video several months ago showing what a nuclear bomb would do, launched from Iran and landing in Israel. And yet Netanyahu is criticized for being concerned they might actually mean it. But I didn't hear our president, I didn't hear our Secretary of State, I didn't hear our liberal universities condemn the Iranians for their talk, for their video. No. Hypocrisy on an unprecedented level from this administration. But it's not just in Israel. Turkey, President Erdogan has been considered President Obama's biggest friend in the region. After the Gaza war, when they were trying to settle it, the President and Secretary of State really wanted, more than anything, to have the peace plan put together by Turkey and Qatar accepted by all sides, even though the Israelis, the Egyptians, and others objected to that plan because it gave Hamas everything that they asked for. That's the president's idea of peace. Secretary Kerry said it last year, that Israel must give the Palestinians everything they want, or they're just asking for more violence. That's the agreement that the president wants. An agreement at all costs, doesn't care, so he can say, I had an agreement. But let's get back to Turkey. They've instituted Sharia law. They've cracked down and arrested Christians just for practicing their religion. And then in January of this year, President Erdogan gave a speech in which he criticized ISIS, not for what they're doing, but for when they're doing it. He admonished them for doing it this year. He's told them and told the Turkish youth that they must wait till 2071, which is the 1000th anniversary of the Crusades, before they work to exterminate and eliminate Christianity. That would be the perfect time on the 1000th anniversary. Hello, that was 1,000 years ago. Give it up already. But this is the president's big friend. Did he condemn such talk? Of course not. Prime Minister Netanyahu had said the slightest thing that was considered, anti-peace or anti-Christian or anti-Muslim, and he would be condemned to no end by the liberal establishment and the liberal universities in this country. It's a disgrace. This president is a disgrace. He has no sense of decency, no sense of honor. He is a dictator gone wrong.